Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning with Faith. I wanted to definitely thank all of our sponsors, first of all, and I wanted to kind of give you guys like a blueprint of what's the next couple of episodes. So, for anybody who doesn't know, um, we as Learning Idiom, we're a nonprofit. We break language barriers and culture barriers by perfecting people's English and Spanish virtually. We're a virtual vocational academy. And we have a large community of Arkansas singles. We are based in Arkansas here in the United States. And so wanted to give you guys a little bit of back history of of why we're gonna have the next couple of episodes mainly about relationships because we saw the biggest need for it. We always have these parenting summits every year, and we're just so grateful and thankful to Pastor Cherise, Claudia Fountain, everyone who has always been part of these parenting summits since the beginning, because this is our fourth year in. And so because we kind of are wanting to have shorter episodes to be able to post them in multiple places, we decided that instead of having a parenting summit like all together for an hour, episodes just have little segments with our speakers. That way they are more highlighted. We can talk a little bit more about the speaker, and so we wanted to, just do it that way. And so I'm super excited because we already did the recording for our one of the speakers for the English podcast. So as you can see, I'll go ahead and kind of show the little logo or the design that we chose for this podcast, Learning with Faith. It's basically like an angel and then the blue fire above her. Um, and I personally wanted to talk, and then also, the modern day Noah is also going to talk a little bit more about why we named it Learning with Faith. Excuse me. So we're both very faith-oriented people. And so we definitely wanted to include, you know, um, faith in our podcast. Um, and because the nonprofit is called Learning Idiom, and basically we're virtual teachers, um, so we decided to call it Learning with Faith, for that reason. We also wanted to honor um, our past loved ones that have passed, and the modern day Noah recently had a grandmother passed away, and so her name was Faye, and so we wanted to name the podcast, kind of honoring her because she was a very faith-oriented person. I am a preacher's kid. Faith has always been around my family in one shape or another. And so it's always been pretty predominant in my life. And so we wanted to name the podcast Learning with Faith for that reason, for both of those reasons. And this is the third podcast that I started. The first one was Moving Mountains for You. And it's just kind of been a journey. And we decided to kind of relaunch it because I went through some stages of being a life coach, of being a health coach, of being, certain different things. And so I wanted to kind of like, start new, fresh. And in Moving Mountains for You, I would always, introduce myself and say what I was doing at the time. And so I run three different companies. The first bilingual publishing company here in the state of Arkansas. We are the first bilingual, so we can publish and have you publish on Amazon and Google Books in both English and Spanish. We also do a couple bilingual books. And then the other limited liability company is the translating and interpreting. So I've done that since 2019. I'm certified to teach Spanish, and so I started that back in 2019. And then, of course, the nonprofit, which is the sponsor for all of these podcast episodes, which is Learning Idiom. It's a nonprofit 501c3. We've been This is our 4th year in, and it's a joy to be able to see how it's grown. Definitely want to, thank Mindy. She is my virtual assistant. I think if I didn't have her, it would be a lot more stressful for me. So definitely wanted to shout out Mindy for being an amazing virtual assistant. And anybody who has along the way helped in some way or form. I want to also thank my family. They've always been very supportive in one way or another, with the endeavors that I've, done. Um, Even though this is what my 3rd year in real estate. So I've always, I've been in the real estate world for about 3 years, and I really enjoy it. Like I think God opened this door, for a reason. I've learned so much. 90% of millionaires, they do it through real estate. And so it's taught me so much in how different ways to make money through, real estate, because when you become licensed, you have connections, you're learning from your broker, you're learning from your firm, like, so there's just so much that has gone that I've learned, and there's so much more to learn. Um, but like this year, it's like the 3rd year in, and I'm just kind of like wanting to focus a little bit more. Um, and so I'm super excited. And that's the reason why I wanted to also relaunch the podcast, because I wanted to specifically talk about 3 subjects: um, real estate, family life, and mental health. Because I'm an autism mom, mental health is super important to me. And so I definitely wanted to include that. But out of every profession or every title that I've had, if you could summarize what I do, I'm a realtor, a publisher, and a podcaster and an interpreter, translator. I basically create my own abundance. I just back in 2019, I wanted to create a way where I would eventually not have to work for anybody else. And so, which, not it's not for everyone. Being an entrepreneur, being a mompreneur is not for everyone. And if you love your corporate job, congratulations. Some people, they love what they do. And I didn't at the time. It was fun, but I knew there was more, and I wanted to do more. And so I left the banking industry, and then I got into the real estate industry. And at the same time, I was like a substitute and a Spanish teacher for about 2 years part-time, while I was studying for my real estate exam and passing it and learning and all that. So I was a teacher. I have my PDR number with the state. I try to maintain it because I know every year you have to do a certain amount of training. I think this is the first year where I probably won't have my PDR number active, mainly because I've gotten so busy that I don't, um, I'm not in the or in schools in general. I'm, like right now, I'm in Pulaski County now. And so I'm trying to be more of a virtual assistant, or, virtual teacher, sorry. So, and whenever I say, learning idiom, we break language barriers and culture barriers, we create a lot of bilingual content. So like if you haven't checked out our TikTok, that's mainly where we post a lot of our lessons, like little short, lessons. If you want to have more extensive, private lessons, we do have a lot of people in our team that you can, get with them and have more Spanish lessons to learn, or English, vice versa. Um, but for learning idiom, like I'm the, executive director to the nonprofit. So I kind of do a little bit of everything, but the main thing that I do that I love to do is creating content. So do the little, social media, the podcasting, there's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes, creating ideas of how to do fundraisers, of, just getting our name out there. I'm super excited for the Dr. Rob Kelly conference that we're going to be a part of in, April, and the conferences that we're going to be part of throughout the year with Gigi Sabat, in the World Women's Conference and Awards Florida chapter. So definitely wanted to shout her out. It's always a joy to be able to collaborate with other faith-oriented entrepreneurs. And so Um, just wanted to kind of, you know, just kind of be super appreciative of everyone that's gotten me to where I am now. Like I think about 2, 3 years ago I decided to separate from my ex-husband, and it was very challenging. But I knew that I needed to do it. And if you want to learn more about my divorce story, definitely check out the book that I published. It's a bilingual book. It's called Transcending La Familia, just like the podcast name. And it's a co-author book. So it's me, Aysleth Zeledon, which is my mom, and then Lynette Stoner, all three of our stories in both English and Spanish. And it's not our complete story. It's kind of like a summary of a little tidbit of our life. And so definitely check it out. You can find it on Amazon. And so it's called Transcending La Familia. And so I just definitely wanted to, appreciate my family and my friends and anybody who's like does that little extra step of liking or sharing or commenting or, anything in social like to be able to communicate with us. We have gotten a lot of messages, from people who are struggling. We pray for them. If they're here in Arkansas, like I've lived here for a long time, there's a lot of resources that a lot of people don't know about. And so I've lived here for so long and I'm very involved in the community, so I know how to help them if they tell me. But if you don't tell me, then we don't really know how to help you. And so I definitely wanted to take a moment and appreciate my co-host, the modern day Noah. I've known him for about 2 years. That one in May, it'll be about 2 years. He is an aspiring comedian, so he has little 5-minute segments in Little Rock every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And so, or I think it starts at 7. Like I have to remember, but yeah, every Tuesday night, he has little 5-minute segments to be able to practice, his skits and everything. So he's, doing the work to practice his craft. So yeah, he's gonna be doing an episode, kind of sharing about, the name of the podcast and what it means to him, why he wanted to be a podcaster, and a little bit more about him, kind of him introducing himself to you. Claudia Fountain is no longer my co-host. She is teaching Spanish to it's kind of like an after school program. It's called Coho Academy. It's in Conway. And so she's super busy with Coho. It's another nonprofit in Bay. And so we also have, I did also want to shout out um Alejandra Reyes. She is part of a nonprofit in Russellville where they teach English to adults. And so I'm just glad that I was able to kind of like unify, leaders in the communities here in Arkansas for all of us to be able to, we all had the same vision of, mending the language and culture barriers with the language, learning English and Spanish and teaching it. Um, and so I'm very fortunate to have the little team that we have. I like to call them our team, learning idiom team. Doctora Carballo, she is a Spanish teacher at Arkansas Tech University. And so, she's also part of a nonprofit of Food for Kids that feeds kids in Russellville and the River Valley. And so who else? Oh, I wanted to definitely shout out Eva Rivas Gutierrez. She's going to be my co-host for Transcending La Familia. So I'm super excited for her to like explore what it's like to be a podcaster, what it's like to, just kind of do. She's been on a couple of episodes and she's been slowly, kind of learning and being more involved in that way. So definitely want to shout her out. But yeah, so stay tuned for these upcoming episodes. Like I said, we usually do a parenting summit that's like 1 hour long, but this year we're kind of doing it different. And so we're gonna have little segments of, 20 minutes Well, this last one that we did was about 16 minutes. And so we're trying to do them because we're on TikTok. We're wanting to post it on TikTok, which is only 10 minutes. And so you can put more than 10 minutes, but it's more than one like slide. And so we're trying to, you know, keep it under 20 minutes. So this year the parenting summit's going to look a little different. It's going to be kind of set up in like more segments and episodes. And then we're gonna pick a day to live stream the entire parenting summit and then be, about an hour. So I'm super excited for this year. We also have a lot of things coming up. The co-host, the modern day Noah, me and him are planning to do a car show. So definitely stay tuned for that. And so just wanted to give you guys kind of an update and kind of tell everyone why my perspective of how it came up with the name, Learning with Faith. Um and so yeah. Thank you for everyone who's watching. Just know if you're watching or listening, I'm praying for you. I pray for all my friends and family and people who view my content, and I hope that by you stumbling upon my content, it can spark some kind of inspiration for you to know that you're not alone, that you're loved, that you have value, and God wants the best life for you if you allow him to. And so take care, everyone. God bless, and peace be with you.